Welcome to Candy Man, a podcast where we're not talking about the Candy Man, a.k.a. Dean Corll, a real serial killer who kidnapped, tortured, and murdered at least 28 boys in the Houston area between 1970 and 1973. I'm Alex.
I feel like that one should have been much earlier in this podcast, just in general. I'm Justin.
I'm Pete.
And just to clarify, also, that was not the inspiration for the movie series Candyman, just so you know. But we're going to be talking about Sweet Tooth, Season 3, Episode 5, The Telltale Heart. And later in the episode, we're going to be trying Boston Baked Beans. To be clear, the original Boston Baked Beans, which are the candy, not baked beans.
This is a type of candy I is so strange that it exists.
Yes. Okay. So I was going to wait to talk about this later. We will get into the episode Sweet Tooth, but just to mention, we've talked about this a lot on the podcast. We have very angry texts about what candy we're going to be trying. Pete, do you want to very quickly explain what happened?
Sometimes people have a bad day. You know, sometimes you can't win no matter how hard you try. I've had Boston Baked Beans before. I used to like them until today. But for some reason, I couldn't get them for the show. I drove all over, going to place after place, coming up with nothing. And then I just got tired of driving around. And I said, you know what? Technology exists. I'm going to, use one of the delivery apps, get some Boston Baked Beans candy, and they gave me Bush baked beans.
Actual baked beans.
I hung it up after that, and I was just like, today is not my day. This is just, I'm going to take the L and call it a day. Then, getting up the next day, I said, let me try one more place. And they had like a knockoff, somebody making baked beans. So, hey, what are you going to do?
Just to add a little color to the story here, while Pete was doing this, he's like, you know what? I'm going to just order through the app, treat myself, flexing on us at his ability to order through an app. And then he's like, I'm having a bad day, and just texted us a picture of a can of baked beans. I've never laughed harder in my life.
And just to check, funny. This is no criticism. You ordered a Uber Eats driver to deliver you one package of Boston Baked Beans?
No, that's ridiculous. I would have to really, if that was the thing I was going to do, I feel like you would have to tip a lot of money. I got on Uber Eats. There was a bunch of places that had it. And so there was one that was a grocery store. So I was like, great, I'll get like some bananas, some other things I need. People need them in the grocery store, frozen pizza.
To be clear, I lied. That was going to be a criticism, but I feel much better now.
Yeah. That's nice. Did you get banana runts?
That would have been glorious.
All wrong.
All right. Well, why don't we jump into this episode of Sweet Tooth as Gus and company finally make it to Alaska. They hook up with Nuka and Siana, I believe is her name. I don't know why we're having a problem with this.
I think it's Tiana.
It's definitely not. It starts with an S. But
okay, I hear Tiana.
I mean, whatever you want to hear. That's one of the beauties of art, is you can interpret people's names however you want.
It's true.
I call him Apton America in the movies.
Oh, that's fun.
That's not
Sounds
fun.
like maybe you misheard it at some point.
Sounds like maybe you misheard Siana. Anyway, they get in the Alaska station. They're looking for help. They want to search for Birdie, and they figure out pretty quickly that she has headed towards this mystical cave that both Gus and Sing have been seeing in their visions. But unfortunately, Zhang shows up at the same time, attacks them. And, they manage to break out, or at least Gus and Nuka break out. Gus is attacked by the feral wolf children that Rosie had and is protected and ultimately protects Caribou Man, who I think we get a big revelation about at the end, but I have some questions about. So that's the broad overview of the episode. I love this episode. I thought this is great. Seeing them trapped inside the station was a real Die Hard scenario, and it was like very, very cool.
Die Hard scenario.
Yeah, it was a Die Hard. They were trapped in the station.
Come out to the coast. Have a couple laughs. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, yeah, definitely.
All you see is Die Hard. Mm-hmm. Everywhere you look is Die Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it was more of like the Thing situation because they were in Alaska.
There were
things.
There's a lot of things. Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to start at the top if we can. Normally we have an epic kind of landscape shot, but more it's kind of going down this table of nightmare table of treasures and trinkets. But I've now, instead of a VO, a voiceover, I call it a BO, a Brolin over, and it's just so nice to have a little BO at the top of the show. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really going to catch on.
Yeah, I think so too.
Wait, can we talk about this though? This is the thing that I was not so cleverly teasing at the beginning here. So we get this flashback of Thacker as we have in several episodes this season. I believe the implication is he's Caribou Man. Is that what's going on here?
That's what I thought based on the end. Based on the beginning, I was like, oh, that dude's dead for sure.
Yeah, he is trying to find the, oh my gosh, not heart of the earth, the juice of the earth.
Blood of the earth.
Blood of the earth. Blood in, blood out. Come on, man.
Earth juice. He's trying to find some earth juice.
Earth juice.
Get that earth juice.
Yes. So there's a lot of mystical, mythological things going on here. Ultimately, he has an enormous flower grown out of chest. So yeah, my implication was like, he's dead. But I believe the close-up, the thing situation.
No, an alien coming out of the chest, dude. The
alien. I thought total alien.
Thank you.
Flower alien is what we're.
It's like Die Hard when he comes out of the.
There's nothing comes out of a chest in Die Hard.
No, but he comes out of the elevator, and it's the same sort of thing with the flower coming out of.
Nope.
Yeah.
Agree to disagree.
So the flower walks on a bunch of broken glass until it comes out of his chest.
Mm-hmm. Do you know the Caribou Man? For some reason in my head, I wanted it to be Will Forte because I miss him so much.
Yeah, that would have been nice. I think we will see him before the end of the show.
You think so?
That would have not made sense at all.
It would have made no sense.
Not nice.
But I was in my brain. I was like, oh, wouldn't it? But no.
Well, so why or how do you think Thacker is Caribou Man? Justin?
Well, I don't know. I think we're going to have to learn about the new nature of the sick or what's happening here, because if he had the most sort of first case of it or whatever and it infected him and that's what turned him into Caribou Man, then that's a whole different thing. But I do think they could change any of this at any time. We're in this whole new world now.
I think it's kind of a Little Shop of Horrors situation where Caribou Man was just the first one to feed the plant. And as you know, you can't, once you feed it, and they start singing to you, I mean, you're just kind of
You're talking about like the end of Little Shop of Horrors, at least the stage show where they're all flowers and singing back to everybody.
Exactly, sure.
Yes. Okay. I may not know action movies, but I do know
Feed me, Seaboy.
Yes. I think there's also a possibility that's Thacker's son. We talked about that, but there was the Inuit woman who was pregnant, wandered away. Yeah. So that could be the close-up on the eyes, like it's the same actor, but his son who is Caribou Man. That would make a little more sense to me, but I guess we'll see.
I agree with you. That definitely makes more sense, but just the way it was created, it felt like the first thought is that's him again. Mm-hmm. To say it's a son, I think we would want to see something different. But I guess the son is definitely storytelling-wise, and it was clearly set up that the son was going to be wandering there. So
yeah, it
we'll
was a confusing shot to end the episode, I thought, because it wasn't immediately clear what was going on here, but it was presented as this shocking twist. So I don't know. We'll see if we can
it just seemed like, like they were talking about Caribou Man, and I was like, wait a second. There's another deer person out there and you guys are just kind of putting this together. I feel like that would be a big, you have Gus, who's a deer, and then Caribou Man, who's a deer. It seems like.
Are caribou deer?
Yeah, kind of deer.
Different. It's similar.
It's in the deer family.
But they're different.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. You're the zoologist, so I defer to you, Pete.
Yeah.
Me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know about
You're
that.
always saying, like, you call this zoology? When you're in the middle.
I do always say that. Yeah, that's right.
You've eaten enough of those pellets at the zoo to know what you're talking about, I bet.
I'm on an all-pellet diet.
So I hate to remind you again, Pete, don't eat those zoo pellets. They're not for humans. They're not human snacks.
Hard disagree on that.
They're so cheap, too.
They're for everyone.
They're so cheap.
You
just
just
put
you're
a quarter
going to pay
and you
like
get a whole meal.
$9 to get chicken nuggets at the zoo concessions versus 50 cents for a head full of pellets? Come on.
Come on.
Come on. What are we talking about here? So I think one of the other big things we should, or actually we haven't talked about any big things in the episode. One of the big things we should talk about in the episode. Yes. I was going to say
just something that I'm worried about is they're like, what happened in the cave. And I just don't want it to be like somebody fucked a deer in a cave and that's how this whole thing got started. You know what I mean? I don't want that, Deb. I hope not.
Will Forte comes out as like, the aristocrats. Remember that?
Yeah. The aristocrats.
Wow. Deep cut.
Yeah, I feel like that won't happen.
That's definitely not. That's definitely not it. Okay, we can make you feel better about anything.
Thank you. Yeah, I could just, that'd be great.
Yeah, I feel like this beautiful, heart-rending fairy tale will not end with Will Forte fucking a deer in a cave, but I've been wrong before. Can we talk about Sing? Nice. Because that's one of the big emotional threads of the episode. We talked about this quite a bit. I was about to say last week's episode, but the previous episode where I was not necessarily on the side of Sing, but we're certainly feeling for him. He betrays everybody's trust here. All he cares about is the cave, getting to the cave, specifically him getting to the cave. He has become, unless there's some sort of feint or twist beyond this, all ego, all about himself, in my opinion. He sees himself in the vision. It's not about helping Gus. It's about getting him there so he can be the savior of humanity.
Just to be devil's advocate a little bit here, if you were having a vision that you were in this cave and that, like, the key to everything you've been working on for this whole goddamn crazy thing was you being in the cave, I think you would do some fucked up shit just to kind of...
you're on Sing's side?
I'm not on Sing's side. I'm just saying, you guys are acting like, oh man, it was weird he did anything he could to get himself to that cave. Of course he's done that. He's been doing that the whole time. He's been doing fucked up shit all along the way. The whole time he's in too deep. He's got to see this to the end. It's driving him mad.
I think those zoo pellets are driving you mad, Pete, because it's...
Dude, you put a little Tabasco on those? Oh, man. Delicious.
Yeah, eat them with a spoon.
Come on.
Sir, you're not allowed to bring that Tabasco in here.
It's my purse tobacco.
It's for the pellets.
Yeah.
Like,
he's got hot sauce in his bag, folks.
That's right.
Enjoy your childless visit to the zoo.
No red flags there, right?
Yeah, no. I met this guy. He met me at the zoo, and we ate hot pellets with Tabasco on it.
Anyway, we're seeing each other again next week.
Yeah, I love him. The thing with Sing is, I think maybe the point is, like, he compromised himself so long ago. And once compromised, you can't sort of go back. Now he's willing to sacrifice anything. It's a little bit of a combination of what you're both saying, where it's definitely, he's like, it's his story, but he's also like, what's the way to get there? Like, he doesn't care. None of it matters anymore because he has given up.
He's already made that decision. More. Nothing matters. The only thing that matters is me getting to that fucking cave.
Well, let me ask you a side question here. This is something that hasn't really occurred to me until we started discussing it right now, but pretty much all of the characters on the show are kind of like that. Like, whenever we have to save the human race comes up, it always boils down to, no, that's a secondary concern to whatever I want. And it's usually the villains, like Zhang, is saying, I want to save the human race. I want to bring humanity back. Obviously, there's a deep-seated reason that we will probably find out for that. But even Gus is like, yeah, I don't really care about my destiny. I don't care about saving the world or anything like that. I just want to find my mom. Like, that is his main motivator. Sing's main motivator is making himself the hero until he's like, I want to save the world, and then he becomes a villain. So what do you think's going on there? Or do you take away something different from it?
No, well, I mean, I like that. I like the balance between the simple missions and the complex ones. Like, we've talked a lot about fairy tale logic, and this show has that. And part of that is simple notions for everyone. It's just, it's not the ones we usually expect, because these are more self-motivated as opposed to, like, I'm trying to save something, save the world. It's much more specific to each character, and that's why they come into conflict in different times.
Yeah, I think it's just what you're saying a little bit, Alex, where he's got tunnel vision. He's got cave vision. He's just focused on getting to the cave. He'll stab anybody along the way, and he'll play nice to kind of, get where he needs to be. No, I'm talking about Dr. Singh, where he's just kind of like, I got to get to the cave. I got to get to the cave. So, yeah, he'll play nice when it suits his goal. He'll stab anybody in the back if it helps him as well. So I just think that's where he's at. What I want to talk about, the real hero of this episode, Wendy the ninja, who's just living in the shadows making moves. Just fantastic the way she was able to not only get to where everybody was going, but be undetected. I love to see it.
Well, what did you think about the whole Wendy-Becky storyline? I have a little bit of a hard time. I don't want to see her die, mind you, but I have a little bit of a hard time being like Zhang is constantly like, leave this person alive. Let's just kind of hang her from the ceiling and we'll see what happens.
Well, I mean, yes, it's classic TV villain logic, but I also think there's a case to be made that when she finally gets Gus, Becky will be helpful there to try to get him to do something. So, like, I know it's tough, but it's all right. I like having her there and having the confrontations with hot blonde guy Jordan.
Yeah, the douche
were great.
The douche and the bear scenes were great. Douche and the bear.
The douche and the bear.
Yeah, I was happy that they got to kind of talk things out a little bit.
That was the radio show you guys had up in Ithaca, right?
Yeah, Douche and the Bear. Yep.
Yeah. Don't ask which one was which because
I think we know which one's which.
Wow, interesting takes from both of you. Very on brand takes from both of you.
Yeah. I also really like the move, just to mention, of Becky, sort of pivoting herself up to break herself out of the chains. Just cool move. I feel like the show. It doesn't forget, that's the wrong way to say, but it gets away from the fact that, like, she led an animal army and was a skilled fighter. And at least watching the show, because her MO is very much, Wendy's my sister, I want to protect Wendy. Jep, you go kill that guy instead. You forget that she is very capable, so it was nice to see that again in this scene.
Yeah, I agree. It was great to see the bear in attack mode. I also thought, like, Singh when he first got to the place, showing off his pinkies was kind of hilarious. Like, he was cracking me up a little bit, even though he is pretty evil.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of pinkies popping in this episode.
Pinkies popping.
The other thing with Singh is it's a little bit like main character syndrome that he and Gus have. And Singh thinks he's the main character. Gus is the main character, technically, but he also thinks he's the main character. And that's what Jep is telling him, is what everyone's telling him. So I think that also drives both of them to be so unilateral in their personal missions, because they have a lot of support for their missions. And Singh and Gus were on the opposite side for previous seasons. They've now aligned their missions until this episode when Singh's like, I'll do anything. And we get this great moment, all was unlocked when I sacrificed the deer. That means Singh's going to sacrifice Gus, right?
Or try to, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Wendy's going to fuck him up with a wrench probably if he tries some shit. But I just think that, like, I agree. I agree with what you're saying, man. It's going to get interesting. I thought this episode overall was awesome, but man, I'm really worried about what's going on. I think that's a sweet spot to be in a TV show where you're like, you're all in. Spot. Oh, there we go. Hey, come on.
The other thing I was going to say is there's some good work in the more positive direction happening this episode, with Becky working on Rosie to sort of humanize hybrids and get her. I think she sees a crack there, and there's a way to turn Rosie against her mom, given everything that's happened.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really hoping Rosie has revenge on her mom, because her mom is really out of pocket and needs to be dealt with.
Yeah, I think, like I was saying earlier, we need to find out more about Zhang's motivations, and I think we'll probably get that at some point, just because that's what the show's been doing, is teasing that somebody has something more going on in the background and then giving us a 5 to 10 minute sequence specifically explaining what that is. So I bet we will get that there. That will humanize Zhang in some way. But then to your point, I think Rosie will be the one to take her down. I do wonder still if we're going to see the wolf children taken out one by one. I was surprised one more didn't die this episode, but we'll see what happens. What about Jep in all of this? Like, what is Jep's character arc at this point? Because we are talking about, like, everybody's so driven, everybody's so focused on their goal. What does Jep want right now?
Well, I think
he's running out of gas.
Yeah, but Jep lost his original family, and he's using Gus to kind of make up for that as his kind of chosen family. And it's kind of being the greatest dad ever. I mean, Jep knows when to kind of let him go, when to hold him close. Like, I love Jep's parenting styles. I'm Team Jep all day, every day. But I'm worried about what's to come, and his whole, like, I'll buy him more time sacrificing stuff. I was like, Jep, no, man, come on, man, we need you. I would like to talk about go ahead. Yeah, we're talking about Jep.
Well, I was going to say, for as much as we're sort of saying Singh is obsessed with this destiny and buying into it, Jep is also buying into the fact that he's not there. I think Jep is like, when do I have to lay down and die for this? Like, I think he believes it just as hard as the others. It's unfortunate that his just means he's like, is there a grenade I can jump on at any point here? Because I'm ready.
And I think he will. I mean, I think we are going to get that, making potentially that sacrifice to, like, jump in front of Gus to take that bullet that Singh is going to shoot at him when they get to the cave or something like that. We'll see what happens.
Or they could all just have one big happy family after this. Let's not throw Jep underneath the bus here.
Do you feel like there was a missed opportunity for Jep to pull a Winnie the Pooh in that air vent? Because I definitely thought so.
You mean take his pants off?
No, that's not.
I don't remember Winnie the Pooh taking his pants off.
Well, he just doesn't have pants. So I'm just wondering, is that why he becomes Winnie the Pooh?
Yeah. Are you assuming that Winnie the Pooh is wearing pants up until we see him and then he takes them off?
Yeah, the start of the show, he takes his pants off every time. It's like, all right, let's film another episode.
Yeah, Winnie, we're ready to go. Take the pants off.
Yeah.
Oh, bother. No, I meant getting stuck in the air vent. That's all.
That is what you mean by Winnie the Pooh. I thought it was another Die Hard reference.
The blood of the earth is Jep's honey. He loves it.
Oh, man, that's a little weird.
Scooping it up. What did you really want to talk about, Pete?
I want to talk about the Arctic fox of it all. I think that we had, like, sometimes in TV show. Yeah, Nuka, when you kind of like need to move characters around and then you're like, oh, they need to do that because that character need to be over here and then this thing need to happen. There's this moment where the Arctic fox is like, all right, Gus, I got you here. Just follow that pipeline and good luck. Peace out. And it was like, hey, where the fuck are you going? I thought we were in this together. And then the fox was like, yeah, I'm going to go save my mom. And Gus can't say shit to that because he's like, yo, that's what I'm trying to do. So much respect. Peace out. And I thought, like, yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? Like, you're doing all this for your mom. You can't blame the Arctic fox for wanting to be there for her mom. So I thought, made sense.
She's like an evolved Pokemon. She's like a third level Pokemon hybrid.
Yeah, you save
she
that,
like
and you
is on top
it.
of shit. She knows what's up. Heightened powers. She's the most grown up character on the show.
Yeah, and she's also governing Alaska, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's pretty smart.
Yeah. Did you know in real life a fox is the governor of Alaska?
There's always a fox running Alaska.
Yeah.
That's a good move.
I
mean, Firefox
They're
is
wily.
running my
They're
computer.
sly. They're sly.
Yeah. Just one side note, I agree with you on that moment, was very much like, well, can't be in this next scene, I'll see you later. But otherwise, I've been a little questioning about what Siana and Nuka are doing here. I feel like we finally got that payoff this episode, and it was nice to see this whole group coming together. So that was good. And the scenes with Zhang terrifying everybody, I thought were really well done as well. They were very...
What a
very
villain
scary.
entrance.
Yeah, good stuff.
Oh, my God.
Great villain setup in this episode in general, and sort of I really liked how when everyone arrives, Zhang and her group are already there and watching them. It just like really put them just one step behind, even though they think they're making great headway in their adventure.
It was also crazy to see people. I know it got teased in the last episode a little bit where we thought we were going to have our characters interact with people on the boat. But then to kind of like, get to this Alaska outpost and kind of see all these people was kind of crazy.
Yeah. Any other any other notes from the episode that you'd like to call out in particular before we move on and eat our
I liked all the
brains?
sort of fire and snow stuff at the end, very like Frank Frazetta, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
Really cool. Got to shout out Caribou Man's sick-ass hood. That guy's got some strong hood technique.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to when you're out there. You know what I mean? A hood's life or death out there in Alaska, bro.
Anything else, Pete?
Hang on, I'm scrolling through my notes, bro.
Right. I was trying to give you some time, but
yeah, I hear you. The close-up on Caribou Man's face, I was just kind of like, what am I supposed to be walking away? Because it felt like an oh shit reveal moment where it's like you close up and then Caribou Man's actually, and I was just kind of
that's what we were talking about earlier.
I know.
It wasn't. Yes. Okay. You're just.
Yeah. I had that in my notes and I wanted to circle it back to it and just be like,
nice.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you weren't paying attention because you were can opening your actual baked beans that you're going to eat.
Yeah, not a fan of actual baked beans.
Really?
So are you gonna hobo those beans? You gonna like spoon into the can?
I don't know. Maybe I'll have a barbecue or something and.
Yeah, you got a washboard, right? So you can be like.
What? What is washboard?
Do some music, some washboard music. You got a jug band. You're eating your can of beans.
Oh, okay.
Riding the rails, seeing America.
Oh boy, yeah, really living.
He's talking about classic community theater hobo life.
Yeah, the good old days, as they say.
It's our town, baby. All right, why don't we?
For a hobo back then to carry a washboard just to make sure they had clean clothes. What a lifestyle. That's freedom.
It's commitment.
We should do that. Take this podcast on the road. We're not going to do that, though. Or rather, we are. We're going to head to Boston and try some Boston baked beans. This is the original Boston baked beans. I don't know the actual origin of these, other than Boston is bean town, and molasses baked beans is like a thing. I don't know how that became candy-coated peanuts. What a weird candy.
What I think it is someone made this candy, and they were like, you know what that looks like? Baked beans. And that was back when people like loved beans more. Beans was more of a fun thing.
A magical fruit.
Yes. Here's the other thing that I'll mention about these. So these are coated in red candy. I think it's Ferrara is the company. They also make Red Hots and Fireballs. So their whole thing is making red candy. So this is just like an extension of that, I guess.
Part of the
confusing
red agenda.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. These things are like eating pebbles.
Oh my God, you're so hard.
It's peanuts, asshole. What do you think it's going to...
No, candy coating.
The candy is hard. It almost broke my tooth.
Oh, they'll do that.
Why?
I got to say, I've never had these before. And I never will again.
Really?
You used to like these, Pete?
Why would you buy these, Pete?
Yeah, why on purpose?
Well, this was back in the day of the old candy, because I'm old. Where you had shit where it was like wax with like juice inside. And then they had like, hard candies just in coating. And this
Pete, are you an old-timey prospector? What's happening here?
I am, yeah.
Back when I was crossing to the
For 25 cents, you could get a little box of Boston baked beans.
You dip a little pebble in a beehive, and that was what we called candy. Yep. Suck it down.
So, I mean, I know we're joking about this, but like, this is definitely the sort of candy before they had realized candy could be good and edible, back at like the peanut brittle days. But I don't understand why that sort of candy exists now. Like, there is better...
I've never seen anyone even have these in their house.
I can't even bite that one. That really almost broke my tooth. That's awful. I'm stopping.
Oh my God,
These are so hard. The candy tastes a little like Red Hot adjacent. It's not as spicy, but it's like there's a little bit of a weird flavor.
You can get it. Yeah, you're like, oh, it's almost there.
I just spat it out into this napkin over here.
Yeah, I saw you.
Ink. I assume it's ink on it, like from a pen. It just leaked all over it, like just soaked right into the thing. Disgusting.
This might be the blood of the earth.
Oh, probably. Good contender for the syrup cup here. I wonder where this is going to end up.
This candy's a contender to be the ball bearings in my bicycle tire.
Let's talk about this. It's a fucking peanut. All right, if you don't like peanuts, I don't know what to tell it to you. And you're coating it in sugar. What's your problem?
The peanut's not the problem. It's the steel-like nature of the candy around it.
Well, it's the difference between, we tasted Reese's Pieces last episode, right? And we talked about like that versus an M&M. That's something that has candy coating you can bite through. You can't bite through this. Or if you do, there is a chance you're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
And maybe back then there was a race. There was a race to have the thinnest candy coating, and Boston Baked Beans, unfortunately, lost.
They killed it.
Would you? So, Pete, if you had a bowl of M&Ms, a bowl of Reese's Pieces, and a bowl of Boston Baked Beans, what are you reaching for first?
Reese's Pieces first.
Second?
Well, it depends on what's going on. I mean, sometimes you're in a peanut.
What's going on?
Maybe you're feeling like some peanuts. You know what I mean?
Peanut M&Ms. You have Reese's Pieces, peanut M&Ms, or Boston Baked Beans.
You said M&Ms. You didn't say peanut M&Ms. I know.
I'm amending my scenario.
All right, well then M&Ms.
Thank you.
It's very funny that earlier in this episode we talking about Pete eating zoo pellets, because this candy that Pete also eats is basically a zoo. It's like a dessert zoo pellet.
This is awful. This is the worst thing we've eaten on this entire show in 3 seasons. I hate it. And that's a great place to wrap up. Patreon.com/Comic Book Club to support the show and all the shows we do.
Who would have thought Zalbatron would have the hot take on
Got him with the baked beans.
We also do a live show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. Come hang out. We'd love to chat with you about Sweet Tooth, Apple, Spotify, Android, or the app of your choice to subscribe, listen, and follow the show at Comic Book Live on Twitter/X, Comic Book Club Live on TikTok and Instagram, comicbookclublive.com for this podcast and many more. Producer the Bear, signing off.
Who's who? We'll never know.
Oh, man. It changes per episode.
Maybe it'd be like Boston the town. This candy's racist, and that's why it's so hard.
There we go. I'm glad someone said it.